Alrighty, we're gonna do a garden tour. We're gonna ignore that super messy garage now that I've highlighted it. Awesome wonky walking camera. This, I'm pretty sure, is clematis. I still need to look it up, but it has bloomed beautifully. Not that long ago, they were all these little tiny buds. And you can see pollinators like gnats. Earlier I saw honeybee, flies. We're getting a little bit later in the season, so we're not going to see the same pollinators that we would have earlier this year. Messy shed, it's fine. I was just cleaning out my tiller. This is my compost pile over here. I haven't really been into it because I had some zucchinis that went ahead and volunteered. I don't think we have any on the... Nope, we do have one on the vine. That's cool. I'll have to go grab that later. And another tiny one. I like letting them get really big and then frying them. I think my grandma mentioned that to me. She said a pancake mix with cornmeal would help it stick. I was complaining that it doesn't stick. This is going to be a strawberry bed, but I wanted to use it now because I can't transplant the strawberries till spring. At least that's when it's supposed to be the most successful. There's another one that's going to be there. I had it covered and I uncovered it because that's why I need the tiller. So I was going to go ahead and till the parameters of it so the boards will lay flat. This is kale. Obviously something's eaten it, but that's okay. Get some oregano and rosemary. I'm going to have to move the oregano later on because both of those herbal plants are going to get a lot bigger. And yeah, zucchini. There's a little bit of those marigolds left. I think that's the only plant that is not completely spent. We have more stuff here. I'm pretty sure this was all the free stuff that I got. There were a lot of leftover plants this year from our local nurseries or local plant sellers, whichever it was. They ended up giving it away for free. This is Swiss chard. It really hasn't taken off. I don't know if I'm not watering it enough or what. This is a corkscrew willow. They grow very slowly. More zucchini. It looks like it might be getting some downy mildew, but that will probably change in the coming days. We've had a lot of rain recently. And it looks like we have one of our melons growing, which is exciting. I just noticed that. Some more kale, some cabbage mixed into there. Broccoli. And again, something's just loving those cruciferous vegetables. I need to get to some diatomaceous earth out here. That's going to be Brussels sprouts. You can kind of see the beginnings of it. My husband likes those. All of our basil is pretty much spent. This happened because of some rain that happened. There was a really hard storm that came through, and it's pretty much done anyway. As you can see, there's not a lot of leaves left. I harvested a bunch of leaves, and then I didn't do anything with them. So now they're compost. But we have watermelon. I think we have 8 or 9 of these. They're a sweet yellow variety, if I remember right. I'm excited. I gotta look up more now to make sure you don't pick them too early or late because I've done both. I've eaten a white watermelon out of stubbornness, or very pale pink, and it was not the most enjoyable experience I've ever had. There's eggplant. Not just an emoji. I can't remember what kind of tomato this is. I want to say it's one of the pinks. This is not a tomato. My goodness, I'm tired. This is a pepper. It's a Carolina Reaper pepper. This one's just banana pepper. It's right next to it. Thought I saw one on it. Oh, yes I did. Kinda. You can kinda see it. That's a nice weed. We leave those sometimes. This is one of the giant tomato varieties I got. I'm pretty sure these are the steakhouses. You can see how big they get here. I just didn't get to it in time, so it's going bad. But these ants have protected these tomatoes from all kinds of other bugs this year, so they are more than welcome to whatever's left over. This is another one of those pinks. And then this is another pollinator that we've had all summer. I'm waiting to find out that that's like a horrible parasite and it's going to destroy my garden in a year, but I'm sure we'll look it up later. Gigantic tomato plant. That is all one right there, if you can kind of tell, sort of. It's the yellow tomatoes. We'll get a better look at them in a minute. These, I think they might have been another pink. They might have been my beefsteaks. I don't remember. They didn't get very big. But there's tons and tons of these yellow pear tomatoes that I just absolutely love. Half the time I'll take in a tomato and my husband will be like, here, have some. Let me slice one up. And I'm like, I've eaten 5 or 10 yellows. I think I'm fine. And these are the strawberries that will get relocated. Really overgrown. I'm excited to get raised beds done this fall, because then I don't have to do this same thing. That bed's a whole lot easier to weed because it doesn't have a grass netting underneath. More kale. That one, I planted that one last year, and so when it came back this year, that was just for seeds. This is a Cherokee purple tomato in the undergrowth. It didn't really want to stay up. Another squash. The neighbor's dog. It's cute. And then these are my blackberry briars. And I think there's a raspberry in there somewhere. I really need to replant all these offshoots because they're good. They're great. I paid a lot for the stumps of these. I'm happy to move the ones that are sprouting up because I'd like to create a wall where it's just this whole space, because that's not only going to be privacy, but then it's more food, and it's expensive food because blackberries aren't exactly cheap. We didn't get a lot of this year, but that's absolutely fine. And that is our black walnut. We have a couple of cherry trees that have survived so far. This one even still has its leaves on it. It's doing well. That's our dwarf Rainier. That's why I leave those tags on there. It doesn't seem to hurt anything. And then over in this corner we have, I think it's our Bing cherry tree, which we shouldn't have planted this close to the house anyway. You can see it doesn't have the same luster that the other one does. That's because this whole part is not alive anymore. I saw leaves at the base, so I am imagining that those roots are still fine. But yeah, that's a dwarf Bing. Kind of the cool thing about dwarf trees is that doesn't mean that they get tiny 4-foot little things unless you want to train them that way, because you can kind of do bonsai on a larger scale with most trees, but that's not what we're doing. It just means that we don't need a giant ladder, because quite frankly we just don't need to do that. We have power lines near our house. We have all kinds of things. We don't have a lot of space for that, so we just do dwarfs and call it a good deal, because this is at most going to provide consistently for 2 people. Of course, we'd love to do the whole farmers market thing where we are feeding tons of people, but we're only on about an acre, so there's not much we can do there, and we're in city limits. But as it is, I'm pretty excited by how things look, and things are going to get a whole lot better looking this fall and spring when I actually do things like use that topsoil to create bigger raised beds. Use that gigantic pile of limbs and stuff to, again, fill up freaking raised beds. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and you'll watch any future videos I have. Bye!